Hi, I'm Dr. Nancy, your medical celebrity doctor, and this is Dr. Nancy Knows, the talk show that inspires, motivates, and brings awareness to many communities across the nation, bridging the gap of disparity, uniting our nation. Remember, Dr. Nancy Knows can be seen on this network, drnancyknows.com, YouTube, and Vimeo. And for all you podcasters and listening pleasures, we are on many platforms. Today's returning guest is Doug Caporrino. He will be continuing with us for many segments to come here on Dr. Nancy Knows. We are so happy to have him. Doug Caporrino is a biochemist, functional medicine nutritionist to the stars, he is, and bestseller, Tell Me, Teach Me, Heal Me. We're going to be talking about a number of things today, and we're going to start out with anti-aging. Doug, it's so great to have you back.
Dr. Nancy, great to be here again, and thank you for having me back.
Of course, absolutely. We're going to talk about anti-aging today, and why is there such a big craze about this in our nation? There are a lot of people think that they need anti-aging types of products and services way too soon, and then there's other individuals, providers out there, that are not doing individual clients justice. Let's talk about that today.
Yeah, you know, it's a really hot subject today, especially in the alternative world. Obviously, with an aging baby boomer population today, vanity plays a big role in it to a degree, as well as health. And I think the whole health aspect of it as well is really what people are tuning into today. So when we talk about anti-aging, you know, that covers such a broad spectrum of topics. What does it really mean to a person? Does it mean reversing the clock? As I always say to all of my clients, you know, growing old is not on my vocabulary. Growing young, now you're talking my kind of game. And that's what I teach people to do, and that's how we basically formulate anything that we're doing with an individual based on their biochemistry to be able to turn back the hands of time. So it's easy. Anti-aging, again, as the name suspects, anti, what does that really mean? It's really about, okay, how do we prevent oxidation from inside the body and prevent the body from growing old based upon all of the different elements that we're exposed to on a daily basis. Physical, chemical, emotional stressors, the bombardment of EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies from cell phone, computers, everything, which bombards and really does, you know, a disastrous effect to our cells. So I think right now, you know, with all of these anti-aging centers popping up on every single corner, people are going into these places, they're getting some misinformation, and people are being put on hormone replacement therapy, much too young, because they're being driven by numbers and not necessarily by symptoms. And doctors aren't doing the necessary diagnostic work to be able to understand whether or not their whole entire system is working in synchronicity. And I'm sure you see a lot of this in your practice as well, too.
Absolutely. I mean, years of practicing emergency medicine and trauma, we are trained not to treat the numbers, but to actually look at the physicality of the client. And if they are not experiencing what these numbers are telling you, then all is well, actually. So look at the patient, get to know them, do a deep dive in terms of an evaluation to see how they're feeling and what they're looking like and what they're experiencing. Absolutely.
Yeah, very, very much agree. And the thing is, when I say it's not driven by numbers, you know, for women, it's more of a numbers game than it is for men. Let me explain. So for men, a lot of times men, obviously being this great male macho species, we walk into a doctor, we want to get our testosterone numbers. We get our testosterone numbers, and if those testosterone numbers are low, we immediately think we need to boost those numbers. And not realizing a lot of times when they go in, they're not getting even the proper diagnostic testing from a hormone standpoint. Sometimes they look at total testosterone. Total testosterone, which most people don't realize, is a made-up number. It's a made-up number based on the demographic location of where you live. So it's a combined number based on your aging population. Free testosterone now is a little bit more of a definitive number as to what's going on with you and within your body. However, another variable to this is something called the sex-binding hormone globulin, which is kind of the joker in the deck. So depending on where that number is during the day, where it is as far as high or low, morning, afternoon, or at night, will sometimes dictate and determine, again, where testosterone levels are, or if you're even experiencing any kind of low symptomatic behavior from it. So a lot of times when guys come to me and they're going to these centers, if you saw the amount of testosterone that some of these centers, okay, are giving men, you would fall off your chair. They're just setting them up for disaster later on down the road. So what I always say is, talk to me about your symptoms. I don't care about your testosterone numbers.
That's right.
Tell me about your symptoms. How's your wellness? Are you happy? Do you feel, jubilated to be able to get up in the mornings? Or are you down and depressed? Do you have a good outlook or a bad outlook on life? Those are the first things that I want to look for. The second thing I want to look for too is, how's your energy levels? How are you sleeping, okay? Do you feel as though that you're losing muscle tone? Are you working out and just can't recover as quickly? Those are symptoms of, okay, maybe we need to address this. And then we need to look at, again, all of the other symptoms, your pituitary, your thyroid, your adrenals. And that's where it really comes into play for women. So a lot of times women will come to me and they'll be, okay, I'm just getting ready to go on thyroid medication. I'm going, okay, why? They said, well, I went to the doctor and my thyroid levels are low. I'm going, okay, so did they look at your pituitary? Did they do adrenals? Did they look at cortisol levels? No. So they immediately start to put a Band-Aid on something, not knowing exactly what the other symptoms are doing. And what a lot of people don't realize is that many women, which thankfully the medical community is finally acknowledging that there is something called adrenal burnout. So adrenal burnout, we have two adrenals, adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla. So the adrenal cortex is kind of the traffic cop of your system that determines, okay, whether or not hormones are being released or let go, and it kind of functions, okay, overall for thyroid, pituitary, and really like, okay, it's the orchestrator for all of these glands. And a lot of times when you start to measure for adrenal cortex or adrenal medulla, and you see that it's suppressed, especially in women, when you support that, all of a sudden all these symptoms go away. They didn't have to be on thyroid medication. So it's really fascinating to see.
It's a comprehensive look in an evaluation of a person, and if you don't know who you are seeking out for advice, you can often get the wrong advice, and it can lead you down a path that you don't necessarily need to go down, and your symptoms don't necessarily improve.
Absolutely agree. And again, the unfortunate part about this is that, many of these doctors today, because they're looking for different streams of revenue because of what this whole entire medical community has sustained because of managed care. So no blame to theirs, but they're going on weekend jaunts to become a anti-aging specialist. So they do a weekend course someplace. They come in, they call themselves an anti-aging specialist. They're pumping guys up with tons of testosterone. The guys are walking out of their offices feeling great for 2-3 months, and then all of a sudden they start to crash and burn and wonder why. And the same thing with women. So many of the women are going into these offices. Doctors are prescribing them. The new big cachet now is pellets. And so they're saying, yeah, you got to get the pellet. And I mean, not a fan of the pellet. I studied many years ago with a organization called A4M, the American Academy on Anti-Aging, and it's worldwide. It's huge. And their main focus all of the time is going through things from a natural standpoint. Lotions, creams, pills, trochets, things that, again, the body are going to be able to really absorb quickly. Not something foreign that's going into the body that's going to be very difficult to manage over the course of 2 or 3 months, which people don't realize. And again, it's just something that people can charge a lot for, which to me, again, it's sad. It's very sad.
Well, that's incredible information. You've heard it here. Doug Caporrino, the biochemist, the functional medicine nutritionist. All you need to know about anti-aging and hormone replacement therapy. Today, you're getting it. And there's going to be more to come as we continue to delve deeper into ways that we can best treat you all in a most natural way and comprehensive way. That's key.
Absolutely it is. And again, we're going to go back to the micronutrient deficiency test, because that's a great place to start, because more often than not, when you are deficient in certain micronutrients, and I'm going to bring up one specifically, but D3, which almost acts as a hormone in your system, and many studies, in fact thousands of studies have been done, that when you increase your D levels, all of a sudden testosterone levels will rise. It will manage estrogen and progesterone within a woman's body. But more often than not, when a person goes to a doctor, the range for for vitamin D from a standard lab, okay, is anywhere between 30 and 100. So if that number comes in between 30 and 40 or even 45, doctors like, you're great, don't worry about it. When I'm like, no, you're in the basement. That's not where you're supposed to be. I want to see those numbers up in the 70s and even in the 80s. Then you start to see everything come back, energy levels, this whole rejuvenation of skin, hair, nails, everything just really starts to rebound. And then with a combination of other micronutrients, when we start to add in, all of a sudden you see a night and day difference. And when women start to go through menopause, that's another thing. It's screaming micronutrient deficiencies. And I've treated more women with something called maca or black cohosh, and a combination of many, many different herbs that works well. But look, there's no magic pill, so please don't run out and buy those two, all right?
You have to get tested first, but I'm going to tell you.
Exactly. And like I said, there's a synergistic effect with all of these things. Sometimes one works, sometimes two work, sometimes you need a combination of three.
And we're all different. We're all different and unique in our own way. And these are natural supplementations, so the dosage is going to vary per person.
Absolutely. So, and great that you mentioned that, because it is dose dependent. So if somebody, let's say, is a fast metabolizer, they're going to burn through it very quickly. So they're going to need a much higher dose of something than somebody who is a slow metabolizer. For somebody who has, I know we spoke about this once before, but something called the MTHFR gene snippet.
Yes.
I know you wanted to touch upon that today.
Did.
So that's something that I test everybody for when they come in. Why? Because about 40% of the population have this particular gene snippet. Why is it important? It's important because then it tells me that you're able or unable to methylate certain supplements, vitamins, and even medications. We've all heard the story about somebody going to the doctor and being put on blood pressure medication, and they go back 2 months later and the doctor says it's not working, we need to up the dosage or combine it with another medication.
Exactly.
Never testing the person for this particular gene snippet, which, guess what? They may not be able to methylate that particular medication. So that's the real cool part about this, is that when you understand it and see it, you can actually prescribe the right supplement or the right medication, knowing that the person is going to be able to absorb it.
Simple blood testing, checking for mutations, looking for depletions, deficiencies. Customizing your wellness around those things can make a major impact and difference in one's life. Truly.
Totally agree.
Truly great information here, and it's so easy. However, not all providers specialize in this type of treatment plan. It is customized wellness based on blood sampling, looking at your deficiencies, doing a comprehensive physical evaluation, sitting down to talk with you, developing a partnership and a relationship that's specific to you to get you to live your best life.
Absolutely true. And that's one of the reasons why I agreed to do your show, by the way, because I know I'm preaching to the choir here, and there's congruency between both our messages. I'm asked to do a lot of talk shows. I'm asked to do a lot of different interviews, and I really have to know a lot about the interviewer first and who I'm going on. And if it's somebody that's not speaking my language or doesn't agree, look, there's nothing wrong with a difference of opinion. But I also want somebody to understand, too, that, look, being a pioneer and thinking outside of the box, or going to the edge over here because the view's much better on the edge as opposed to inside the picture frame, that's the kind of person I want to get into a whole mix with, as far as talking, educating, and motivating and inspiring people to better health.
Well, you know, that's what we talk about here, and thank you for that compliment. At Dr. Nancy Knows here, it's all about aligning yourself with individuals that pour into you and that you can, you know, partner with, that are on the same level of inspiring and bringing awareness and being impactful in an individual's life. And I know that you do that, and I knew that the minute we met. And we are going to be doing some wonderful things by bringing awareness to many people that didn't know that just simply tapping into blood work can change your life.
Absolutely you can. And look, I agree. I know we have a lot of great things coming down the pike, exciting things that we're going to bring to your audience that we can't disclose just yet, but be ready and waiting. But the whole thing about what you just said about really taking a personal approach to each individual, look, I'll give you, for instance, I had one of my clients the other day tell me that they had to go for a checkup. It was a follow-up to a ear problem that they were having. And they went in and sat down, and the doctor looked at the papers and said, "So tell me, how was your surgery?" She said, I never had surgery. He said, oh, I thought you went in for the surgery. She goes, no, you gave me a couple of options not to go in for the surgery. And she was completely turned off by the doctor at that point, thinking, you didn't even look at my records before coming in here. So the point that you just made, again, taking that personal approach to somebody, I take everything personal. If I take on a client, I have a great batting average. If I know that somebody, again, has the wherewithal and the desire to want to change and help themselves, I'm with you. I'll walk the path with you all the way, no matter what it takes. And I know you feel the exact same way. So it's really, really important, as you said, to find that kind of provider that's going to take that personal approach and interest in you and in your health and outcome.
That's exactly right. So Doug, tell the viewers, listeners, how to get a hold of you, because you can be anywhere at any time through your consultations and your services.
Absolutely. So I literally have clients all over the world, from Dubai, London, to here in the United States, and I could do what I do anywhere in the world. So first and easiest place, and even if you want to buy my book, www.dougcaporrino, CAPORRINO.com, and I promise to personally sign a book if you get it from there, and if not, you can go to Amazon or even Barnes & Noble. Or you can actually give us a call at 866-GET-GETT-FIT. And one of our operators will get back to you right away. They'll get you on my schedule, and we'll walk the dance together.
Thank you, Doug, for being on the show. And listen, everyone, stay tuned for more segments with Dr. Nancy Knows and Doug Caporrino. Remember, it's not only what Dr. Nancy knows, but it's who she knows. We'll talk soon. Bye now.